Larry Feldman is probably the most amazing trainer that I've ever experienced in this business. I've been in the car business now for 35 years, and I've seen quite a few trainers. And a lot of them are pretty good. I mean, really, I get something out of all of them that I've seen, really. But Larry is in another class. I really mean that. His training is literally riveting. A little while back, I sat in on his first training that I ever sat in on. It was for new hires. I still remember, I'll never forget it. About 25 people in the room who'd never sold cars before. And he started to do his training. And after 2 hours, I was in the back of the room and I raised my hand meekly and Larry stopped what he was doing and said, yes. And I said, maybe we should take a break. And literally, I'll never forget it. All 25 people turned around, looked at me, and went, well, okay. And they turned back to Larry. And Larry looked at me and goes, okay. And he kept going for another 2 hours.
Computer, that's get rid of that. All right. So good morning, good afternoon, good day, depending on when you're listening to this or watching it. This is Ian from the famous Auto Hub Show. And I have the only Russell Hill on. This is a one-on-one show. So this is where I talk a little bit more about individuals, a little less in a group setting. So Russell, you've been on the show a lot, but tell us more about how you chose the car business and how you got into it.
Wow, it's not so. 1968, when Hot Wheels were released, that's what started it all for me. That doesn't mean that's when I got in the business, but I fell in love with cars, and I've been in love with cars ever since. 1985. This is my 40th year. I started selling cars, worked my way up for 16 years to run in stores. Many of those years I worked for the Van Tall organization, known today as Berkshire Hathaway. Then I got in January of 2000, I went to work for a company called Car Research. And about 6 months after I started, we started developing CRM software. And I became a partner in that company for 11 and a half years, and then passed and went another direction and actually bought into a technology company called R&D Interactive, who's also one of my business partners back then, is also my business partner today. Gave that hell for about 8.5, almost 9 years. We did websites for Group One. We did paid advertising, email marketing, things of that nature. But you learn a lot about contracts and stock options and business partners and stuff like that. A lot of great lessons learned. Then we sold one of the two of the five of us. We sold our shares to the remaining three, and we started Fixed Ops Marketing and rolled out our first product January 7th of 2020, a month before COVID hit. It's been a hell of a ride now. 5 years. We just completed 5 years, and we're sitting at 620, 630 dealerships.
Fantastic. Well done.
Things are exploding for us.
The Auto Hub Show was created initially in the early days of the pandemic because dealers were freaking out, as was everybody else. And it was two friends of mine created it, and I ended up taking it over because they figured it was a lot of work and they didn't want to do it anymore at that point. But the thing that's interesting when you look back 5 or 6 years now that we're in season 6, is essentially we've been talking about the same thing a lot for a long time. And with the new Fixed Op Show, we're talking about it in different ways. But one of the things that I think has come up, at least for me personally, but also on a show I did with a bunch of technicians, I think it was last week, was hearing it from the technician side of service, which I'd never done before, which was kind of interesting, was for them, it was all about mastery. So mastering craft and getting the best you can be at it. It's funny because that echoed in a book I'm reading right now called The One Thing, which talks about that as well. And they talk about how long it takes to do that. And I believe the metric is 10 years of practice gets you mastery in something. I think it was they were talking a little bit about Eddie Van Halen, and his brother was like, "Yeah, Eddie Van Halen was always practicing, man. Like
he was.
He was doing it every day, all the time."
Yes, he was.
Because to hear technicians go, "Yeah, I'm a level 1, I'm a level 2, I'm a level 3, I'm a master tech, I'm a diesel tech." That was interesting, but more importantly, as you look at service, especially with the changes going on in the world these days, I would say that service is going to be more and more important because not only do we have more technical cars than ever, uh, people are going to keep cars longer just because the costs just keep going up, and people are going,
Yeah.
well, I'm probably going to keep it a little longer, not because I want to, but kind of because I have to. What's your opinion on, over the last 5 years, have dealers leaned in and say, listen, I need to pay more attention to fixed ops, or is that
Yeah.
something that's more recent?
Yeah, when you, well, in the last 5 years, I'd still consider that recent. Yes, it seems to be a big talking point today. Perhaps some of the reasons is because I pay attention to it more than ever, even though I grew up on the variable side. But yes, it's 60% of the net revenue. It comes from the fixed side. But we are dealing with the same things today as we did. I have a Ford sales training manual.
Okay.
I mean, it's all about relationships. Not much has changed. I think that the variable versus fixed side is becoming less siloed and more engaged with each other. But still, it's like the Titanic. It is a big ship to turn, and I think it's starting to turn very, very slowly. If we don't do something, for example, NADA says, at least here in the States, that for every franchise dealer, Ian, there's 16 independents that our customers are driving by. And it's the same thing I hear that I heard 20, 30 years ago. It's 7 out of 10 people end up defecting by the time we get closer or to the end of the warranty period. And it's like, it's a repeat referral retention. It's like, it's a never ending, but there is, people are listening and they're starting to transition and understand things that are really important. And it's all about people. Everything is about people, developing your people. So a typical service director, it's like, okay, you're hiring people, you're firing people, you're counseling people, you got meetings with the GM, you got meetings with the OEM. You got equipment problems. You got a text that didn't show. You got advisors that didn't show. It just got, nobody has time, but they're starting to make time. And because they understand it's important, transparency is really important. From the time a customer drives up, to give you an example. So I got a Genesis, and we don't, around where I'm at, we don't have a standalone Genesis franchise right now. So I have to go to, I live in on the Texas Oklahoma border. I got to go to Plano, Texas. And I scheduled an appointment. I was there 30 minutes early. It's still 3 cars deep for an oil change. Okay. Now, by the time the advisor got up to me, he wasn't smiling or anything. He just looked at me and said, "Do you have an appointment? Are you freaking kidding me? Do you have an appointment? Hello, welcome back. My name is Russell. What's your name?" You know, nothing like that. But that's where it starts, okay? And then, of course, there's a huge transition to picture and video MPIs. Really, really important. Timing is critical. How it's delivered, when it's delivered, all that is critical. So if the customer's in the lounge area and they're in for a rotate, balance, and an oil change, and their rotors are scorched and their pads are 2 millimeter, which means nothing to them. But if you could show them this is a safety concern, okay, well, then the third component of that is when the advisors are talking to the consumers, they're thinking about their own pocketbook, and they're either reluctant, don't say something. You got texts they're always saying, well, so and so's not selling whatever his recommendations were. But then the transparency on pricing and recommended or scheduled maintenance is a hell of a lot cheaper than major repairs. And it's like, these are AI. AI is a big focal point. There's a lot of things happening quickly that people better start paying attention to and start adapting some of these things. But the days when I grew up, you had two kinds of people. You had managers and leaders. Most of them were managers, and they managed by lighting a fire under your rear end. True leadership lights a fire inside of people, okay, and finds out their why, and executes or helps them execute a plan so they can hit their objectives, goals, or et cetera, and keep them excited and motivated. But we have to be flexible because of the pandemic. Uh, Gen Z, I mean, it's just different. Some of the things were when I was working 60, of course, I still am 60, 70 hours a week. Well, time is really important to them. What about childcare? What about flexible schedules? All these things are huge talking points that you and I and a lot of you out there watching and listening to this that we see there that people are talking about, but we're talking about it today. And because of the pandemic, we have this kind of stuff. We got Zoom and all these types of meetings and ways to communicate with your clubhouse, etc. And I think it's an amazing time, and there's a lot of opportunity if people are paying attention.
100%. I mean, it's funny, not funny, haha, but funny. I mean, you look at the simple problems that are out there. You look at the simple solutions that are out there. You look at things like, hey, I need technicians for my store, but I don't know how to attract or retain them. Uh, I need people to get training, but I'm not doing that because I'm too focused on maybe mishandling the customer in front of me.
Yep.
I digital MPI technology. I have still image technology, but my service writer doesn't want to do it, and the technician doesn't know how to do it because no one trained them. I'm doing a show later today on shockingly video MPIs, but I had the opportunity to work years ago for DR Factory when they were trying to get people to do still MPIs, and people didn't want to do that. So, but at the end of the day, it's about time. When you look at the change in the world today and the rate of change, taking the politics out of it, just the rate of change in
It's
general is
fast.
accelerating.
Yeah.
So you got to look at it and say, okay, if someone had told me 10 years ago that a Chinese car company would beat Toyota globally in sales after beating Tesla, I would say, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But what it means is the other remaining car companies or the traditional OEMs and even traditional retail that represents them need to learn how to make changes fast. I was talking to a buddy of mine who owns one of the largest Cadillac stores in the U.S. in New Jersey yesterday about tariffs because I've gotten
Yeah. Yeah.
30 calls in the last couple of days about this. I'm doing another show next month on it. Um, and he said, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, "Well, what is General Motors saying?" He says, "Well, they are forcing us to buy 40% of our cars that are electric. Only 6% of our customers want an electric car at all. So we got all this inventory that nobody wants that they're forcing us to buy, and they have no answer for the tariffs. They don't know what's going to happen. So their answer is let's wait and see."
So when you say that, what pops into my mind is control the controllables. Uh, I think I heard this from David Long, but anyway, what I mean by that is you don't really control much of the new car side. What you have control over is used cars and service. That's what you have complete control over. You should be focusing your time and energy there because the average vehicle on the road is like 12, 13 years now. It's like they need service. So are we taking care of our customers? If you don't make some changes, then it's going to continue to happen. Tires and oil changes are the two biggest defection points. Dealerships are starting to figure it out. They're in the tire game. They understand, or maybe they don't, because I talk about it almost every single day, is that it's the single largest purchase that we make during the warranty period, typically is tires. And if we're not setting them up and talking about it and coaching them, etc., with the red, yellow, and green, all that's if we're not doing that, and they go to Firestone or Goodyear and buy it, what do you think they're telling them? We can do your filters, your blades, your alignments, batteries. They can do all that stuff. So it's like we got to stop that. And yeah, dealerships are in the tire game, but for 25, 30 years, we've educated our customers we can't compete. We just the margins are too low, but we understand today, yes, they are, but we can compete because we all get our tires from the same place. But 67% of those people, if they buy a set of tires, they continue to service with you and buy a newer pre-owned vehicle. That's one of the first things you got to land on. I mean, you gotta start talking tires.
100%. We did a show on tires a couple weeks ago, but the thing that was interesting, I think I was at Costco last weekend, and they used to just sell tires, and they started installing tires. Now they're starting to go, oh, maybe we should do other things. And I thought it was interesting because the same thing was true with I think Pep Boys or Canadian Tire, other retailers. They started in the tire selling business, and then they quickly realized there were more
Yeah.
opportunities. And I think what dealers have to do from a marketing point of view and fixed ops, but more importantly from a retention point of view, is start to get really good at what offer am I doing this month. Much like a grocery store chain does every week. Listen, I got a special on rump roast this week, or I got a special on eggs. Dealer doesn't even know what their special is on anything.
No,
Like we're
no, no.
marketing every month something. Like bring someone in. I got an email on my
Yeah.
Jeep on service offers after I did my service. Like,
Yeah,
shouldn't you tie that with the service on the car? Like, what are you doing?
they don't understand marketing, and unfortunately, 80 to 85% of the GMs grew up on the variable side.
Yeah.
They have all the funnels, all the widgets. When you talk about all four of your profit centers being located on your website, the variable side knows everything, right? To funnel customers. They don't know jack diddly on the fixed side. So you have all of these pages, and you might be able to link to a service scheduling page or a print feature, which you can't track. The only quantifiable thing you can come up with to justify what's going on your website or in your service department from the website is how many people actually scheduled service. Well, it's traditionally 20%. So the other 80% have it, or it's too cumbersome, too many clicks. The average attention span is less than 5 seconds today. You got 3 clicks. Consider all of you, I'm talking about this, you're online all the time. If you're not finding what you're looking for, anxiety sets in, you go, screw this, I'm moving on. I'm going to the next thing. So, I mean, almost 30% of people coming to a website daily are looking for service related content. You know how many people came, you know how long they were there, but you don't know who they are. You better start figuring out who those people are, because that's going to be huge in the very near future with deliverables, with AI and marketing and things of that nature. Because I tell you, the CDP is a big topic today. The CRM, the DMS, they're becoming antiquated. The data is not matched. It's not accurate. You're hell. I still get snail mail and vehicles I haven't owned in 10 years. I mean, it's ridiculous, Ian.
100%. So, fixed ops marketing. What do you do for a dealer that maybe needs, I don't know, a lot of help, or maybe doesn't know what help they need? They're just saying, hey, like, I don't know what I don't know. Please help me.
Yeah.
Like, how do you help?
Well, I got to share this. So dealerships are leaking thousands to tens of thousands of dollars from the service side of their website, as I mentioned it a minute ago, and you don't even know who those customers are. I got to get people's attention, and I got to point out what the challenges and problems are, okay? And not only do you not know who those people are, which is totally unacceptable on the variable side, but you got to hit them in the pocketbook. You're leaking an enormous amount of money, just depending on the size of your establishment. And when you really do have 30+% people looking for service related content and you don't know who they are, you got a challenge. So recently, Group One came aboard with us. We have all 150 of their stores, mainly from the data aspect, but also the deliverables of what we do too. But data is the big thing, because see, we have so many calls to action. We capture their name, their email, and their phone number, and we serve it immediately to the dealership. They've never had this data before, and they're controlling it from the corporate side of things. And the reason they're doing that is because they know what's coming with AI and how to be able to. So we're a delivery system for their AI and for their messaging, but as well as collecting and harvesting. I think in the last 75 days, we've collected 45,000 names, emails, and phone numbers that they never would have gotten from their website. Never would have gotten. This is one of the reasons they chose Fixed Ops Marketing as their technology provider for that particular initiative. The other thing is video. SEO is important. People don't want to read a 5 or 10 minute dissertation. People don't understand the difference between a conventional semi-synthetic and a full synthetic oil change. So video is extremely helpful. Well, hell, they've had it on the variable side forever. Here's what they have on the fixed side. No specials, coupons, or offers at this time. Check back later. A handful of static images that are expired, can't even do anything with. The third one, which is probably the most common one with all of those website vendors out there, is a handful of offers, coupons, specials that you might be able to have some information, link away to schedule service or to be able to print, but you still don't know who they are. So it's like, do people just not understand? I don't even think it's really they don't understand. Part of what I do is with people like you and what we do collectively, two guys doing podcasts and stuff like that, is to educate dealerships that, hey, one simple change can solve all those problems because of automation. Oh, I don't need another thing to do. Well, first of all, when we're talking about specials, coupons, and offers, okay, that's not what fixed ops marketing does. We are a lead generation magnet. That's it. What we're about is delivering the right content with the right message at the right time and engaging customers in a way they've never been engaged, whether they're 18 years old in or 80 years old. We have a conversion mechanism where they can't even print unless they input their name and email, name or phone number, or name, email, and phone number. They can't even print the offer. But people still think and run up against it that, hey, we don't do coupons. Well, you know what? When you look at the specials content page nationally, most dealerships have that. That's where all four of your profit centers should be located, centralized. And it's the number one exited page because there's nothing enticing or engaging there. And man, that's your digital showroom. I mean, could you imagine a customer getting out of their car, walking into the showroom, walking around the showroom, the receptionist is on the phone, everybody else is on their phone, and they finally just look around, getting and walk back out through the doors, get in their car and leave. And it's like that's a missed opportunity. And even if they were there and you know how long they were there, maybe, but you don't know who they are. We know who they are and we serve that up, and it's made a huge impact. So we have just exploded. And when you have somebody like a Group One take notice, it's only a matter of time before some of the other ones do, particularly when they see their stock price. Their stock price is higher than the other public companies. It's like, what are they doing that we're not doing? We're missing something. Yeah, you're missing it because the future is fixed ops marketing. Control the controllables.
So how do they get set up? How do they get started? What does it cost? What's the ROI? Like, how does that work? Well, there will be more details below in the description.
Well, I mean, we track all that. We have products that start at $449 all the way up to $3,000. It just depends on what's right for you and your individual store and what your needs are. So we have a lot of iterations of what we do, but essentially, we have a full blown website that resides inside of your existing website with autoplay videos, custom dealer branded videos, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Google business profiles, and SEO, and much more. And it's automated to a point where you don't need usernames, you don't need passwords. Even the offers themselves automatically default from the beginning to the end of the current month, so they represent urgency and they're fresh. But we focus on the highest defection points, right? Express. Those are the things that people defect on. So Joshua Taylor, phenomenal, right? Wrench turners, and well, he also works for me. So he did an analysis. We don't have the numbers for 2024 yet. 47. He did 47.2 million data points. We know it's a science to us. We know the 26 highest converting offers in the industry, the verbiage, the title, how they should be displayed, where they should be, what people are clicking on, left to right, top to bottom, row 2, row 3. We have all this data to support. So behind all of that, ultimately, everything I just talked about, here's what we're about: CPRO. That's what we're about: customer pay, and we track it we track the ROI and revenue with our integration. All we care about is customer pay, and it's a big lift to the dealerships. I'm going to say this: this is pretty bold, and I don't know who a lot of you are out there, and I don't even need to look at your website, but I'll say this: whatever you got on your website right now is costing you more than if you use fixed ops marketing. I can say that. And if you don't like it, turn it off. So that's essentially what we do. We cover the gamut of things. It's amazing technology. We are the first video couponing system. Period. There are one or two other ones, but they pale in comparison. And all that technology I just discussed with you is in-house. Spanish translation, not Google Translate, hybrid. We actually do all of that in house as well. It is just amazing, remarkable technology. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for taking the time today. If you want
Thank
more
you.
information, it's below. And of course, appreciate the fixed op lessons because we do have some fixed ops departments that maybe, I don't know,
Yeah,
need a
we
little
do.
bit of help. When I worked years ago for a website company that sold websites to car dealers, the thing that amazed me is not only no sales specials that were any good, no service specials at all. I'm like, what are you guys doing? There's no tire season, there's no brake season, there's no summer, there's no winter, there's no windshield wipers, there's no brakes. I mean,
Well,
it's like, really?
understandingly so, um, service people are not marketing people. Most dealerships or franchise they have advertising and marketing people either in house or they pay some firm. But here, unfortunately, again, because of the stuff you and I have just talked about, without regurgitating it all, I was talking to a dealer spending $50,000 a month in paid advertising. Okay, 47 of it went to the variable and 3 went to the fixed side. Well, why is that? Well, because we have no way to. It's a waste of money. It's like a bottomless pit. There's no way to quantify what that money did because there's no conversion mechanisms for their offers to their service department. It's a mess, but there is a solution, and I'm not the only solution, but we do have a great solution. So you can contact me. You can call my company. You can fill out a form online. Got a tremendous sales team that knows what they're doing. But really, it's just a consultant thing. So when I sit down with somebody, it's like I don't even need to spend 5 or 10 minutes. You and I, Ian, just talked about all the challenges that we have. You're leaking money from your website. You have technician problems, advisor problems. You don't have any time. You don't need another thing to manage. Repeat, referral, and retention are topics. You're shorthanded. Leaderships. All these things are known quantities that you and I and most of you listening out here that follow Ian know that these are challenges. We're looking for solutions, just like Joshua does with technicians and wrench turners, or Peter does, with the Lions partnership, etc., or some of the same things like Larry Feldman and what he does with career changers. I mean, just phenomenal people. I had to get that little plug in for my friends because I love you all. You know what I mean?
Well, thanks very much for the time. Have yourself a great Friday. If you are listening to this after the fact, you can definitely check out the MPI show that's going on today, Friday at 5:30 East. We do a weekly live show on fixed ops. And of course, the original Monday show, we're going to be doing one on tariffs next month.
Yeah,
So if you're
that'll be
interested in
interesting. Tariffs and
tariffs,
elections, right?
we're trying to fix the political problem, but I think that's going to be a longer discussion. But tariffs are
Yeah,
the current problem, so we'll see how that goes.
I
Anyway,
think so.
have a great day.
Yeah, I'm humbled, honored, and grateful for the opportunity. Peace out.
Same here. Have a good
Okay.
day. Ciao.
All right. Bye bye.